There you go, it's all again. Now, second lockdown's on its way. Believe me or not. That's my prediction. And the second lockdown is going to be a real lockdown. It won't be like the first lockdown. There will be a second lockdown. And it's going to be a lot more restricted. Okay? And unfortunately, largely due to all these protests, Black Lives Matter. Okay. So if you have a look at how things are actually going and who's connected to what and what's connected to who, and you can kind of see the spider web, and you can read not only the word and not only what, the written word, but also, read what's being said when they're speaking. Okay, because that's what you've got to be able to do. You've got to be able to see what's actually being said when these politicians and these other people speak. Okay, and what I mean by that is, don't listen to each individual word, so to speak. Listen to the overall picture of what they're saying. Okay, because they're saying, because they say a lot, they speak a lot without actually saying a lot. But if you follow enough from different sources, different angles, you start to develop a clearer picture. You won't get sort of the whole truth for one. You have to kind of connect things and form a conclusion based off the information you have from as many different sources that you can get. Both, mainstream and non-mainstream. Regular people and conspiracy nuts and anyone else. So you need lots of different sources from different angles to develop come to a conclusion. Biggest likelihood of what may happen. Okay, so I was kind of right with the first one was a pandemic. I was kind of onto it probably 6 weeks before they declared a pandemic. I kind of started getting prepared for a pandemic, just in terms of food and stuff. And although the lockdown wasn't as severe as what I thought it was going to be, it wasn't a true lockdown. No, it was. You were still allowed out to consume. They still allowed the consumerism to continue, while shutting down all your social outlets. Okay, because that's what it was. It was to condition you to a form of isolation. Basically, putting everyone under house arrest, and their only outlet was to go to the supermarket or shopping centre and buy food and groceries. Meanwhile, reducing the commercial prosperity of each person, each individual, their capacity to earn income or do anything of an economic nature to try and improve the situation, suddenly vanished, right? And the idea was to lock everyone down till the virus numbers became, each day like a declining number of new infections every day, to the point where it was like zero. And then basically just as they're about to let everybody out, they decide to organise massive protests under the excuse that it's to do with deaths in police custody and negligent and use of excessive force within certain US policing departments. And so they use the Black Lives Matter movement, which is progressively sort of grown in numbers and in organisation, rather than just a street movement. It's actually well organised because it's been trained and funded by the Antifa activists and the Marxists, the communists, along with some of the Islamic backing as well, and financially backed by George Soros, and the same sort of people that were out protesting with the climate change and Extinction Rebellion. They're involved as well. And then you had, here in Australia, before the virus even took hold, you had like the worst bushfire season ever, and there was something like 200 people arrested for lighting fires. Okay. And some suggestion that that was actually, people involved in a concerted effort to destabilize and cause fear and make us feel like the world was going to end. Which, that was a horrible time. Last summer was really crazy. And so just as everybody comes out of this fake lockdown, strange things going on. They let a boat full of people with fucking virus disembark here in Sydney. They just allowed a whole boatload of people off the boat because there were people on the boat, on the cruise ship, that were related to certain politicians. So they let them off the boat, right? And that spread the virus. Now, so we're going to apparently lockdown, all right? Apparently it's a lockdown. We've gone into lockdown. Hang around the house for a couple of months, ready to come out. Everything's about to fucking reopen. Everyone's going back to school. Year's gone to shit. One of my daughters was supposed to have a martial arts grading, didn't have, everything got closed, so that didn't happen. And we're gearing towards having competitions, and, she's got to get to a certain grade before she can compete in judo. But it's all stopped. Just as we come out of lockdown, huge protests everywhere. Within 24 hours of someone apparently dying at the hands of the police, millions of people have got t-shirts with his name on it. How the fuck did they print those t-shirts out in a day? I'd like to know, because shipping from China ain't happening. It's fucking taking ages to get anything fucking shipped in. Or it was. And these, before the actual lockdown had been declared over and that you can come back out, there's these massive protests and they broke the lockdown. And regardless of whether this virus is the bogeyman or whatever, whether it's real or not real or whatever, right? Whatever this thing is, now they're saying there's fresh outbreaks. Okay? Fresh outbreaks of the virus now. That's what they're saying. So now we're going to impose further restrictions. Well, why the fuck did they allow people to go and protest? If it was so serious, protesters should have been really given a heavy hand that were out protesting, but no, they're kneeling, getting on their fucking knees and bending over for him, parting their ass cheeks for the commies, for the communists, the Marxists. Okay? And so if you connect those two things, one, the government allowing these fucking protests to go out, and this very soft hand to deal with them when it should have been a heavy hand. You should crush it, squash it straight away. All right? Crush it, squash it, stomp all over it, deal with it. All right? Okay? But they didn't. They didn't deter them from doing it. There should have been a head kicking. Right? If it's a pandemic, it should have been a head kicking. So now they say there's fresh outbreaks. So they're going to reintroduce gradually more restrictions again, and it's going to get worse. Worse restrictions and more restrictions. Because they say, oh, there's another outbreak. We don't even know. We don't even know if there's a real outbreak, but they're going to tell us there is. And we'll believe them, because we don't fucking know, right? We don't know. So I've got this feeling, because I'm connecting dots. So my instinct, my gut instinct, and I'm people who know me, will know that when I've got an instinct about something, I'm generally right. My intuition is generally fairly switched on. And I come to the conclusion that all these protesters are actually allowed to do it so they can cause a disturbance, just so they can say that the protesters, that there's another outbreak, and everyone's going to form the conclusion that, it's because of the protesters, another outbreak. And now the government's now going to crack down on anyone having people in their own house, according to the Victorian Premier, right? We're going to, we'll send people over to your house. We'll send the police, the force over to your house to make sure you haven't got too many people visiting or whatever. But people can go out in the street and fucking riot and protest. See, I'm onto what's going on. You're going to tell people that they can't have so many people, whatever, in the house. You're going to allow big fucking protests all over the country to go ahead. Equality under the law. But you don't operate under the law, do you, Victorian Premier? You don't operate under common law. Equality under the law. So I believe that whoever's controlling the Black Lives Matter movement is also controlling the government. It's the same puppet. There's a puppet master behind it. Okay, they're working together. They're working together. These protesters, the commies, Antifa, Soros, whatever the fuck, you asshole, with him, and the governments, these corporate governments, which are foreign. They're foreign, okay? These are foreign entities. The whole thing's foreign entities. Full of corrupt the most corrupt politicians, okay? Absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. Okay, they're unlawful to begin with. Okay, absolutely. Even under the colonial law, our common law, they're corporations acting as government. Okay, it's a foreign entity. Yeah, acting as government, working with these protesters. Okay. And then on the other hand, you've got the uneducated who are going to turn against the Black Lives Matter activists, the frontliners that are out there protesting. Okay? When they need to look deeper, it's behind there's the massive people is smokescreen. It's not They're not who you need to retaliate against. Not the Aboriginals and the other BLM lily white boys or whatever that are fucking, the university white boys that are, got a wrist this fucking thick and they're out there getting on the knees of people. They're not the ones who need to feel any retaliation if it comes. You got to go deeper than that. That's the surface bullshit. You got to go deeper than that, because if you dig far enough, it wouldn't surprise me if the money trail to fund these organisations through Black Lives Matter is somehow trickling down into the judiciary and the not just the judiciary but the law enforcement side of things and the government side of things, the administration. Okay, someone overall is trickling money into both sides. That's why the police are lightly handed. They're not kicking heads. They're not stomping motherfuckers. All right? As what should be happening. I mean, if it was a real, I can figure this out, and I'm not an intel guy. I don't work in intelligence, but I can figure it out. Surely with all the police powers and what they can see and what they know is going on, if it was a real constabulary, in the interests under common law, in the interests of maintaining peace and order and stability and in the order of the realm, you would squash these Marxist communists. You get you would squash them, but they didn't. They didn't. Okay? Maybe it's slightly different from one state to another, but especially Victoria. Victoria's fucking gone. It's gone. It's gone. Victoria's gone. Okay? They're on their knees. And so that's my conclusion. The regular people of Australia, and it doesn't matter about what colour you are, what your belief system is, who you pray to, none of that. The people who like this country, love this country, this is your home, this is where you come from. If you have two passports, tear the other one away, prove you're loyal to this place. Throw your other citizenship out, have the one, and you're an Australian only. You stand here and live here. Okay? It's people that like being here, love being here. And love being an Australian. You like the sense of humour. You like the sort of rawness of being an Aussie. Yes, we're crass. Yes, we swear a lot. We don't take any shit. We'll say things how it is. We're very honest. The regular Aussie's a very honest character. We poke fun at things. We appear to be a little racist on the surface, but if you're a good person, we treat you with fairness. If you treat us with fairness, we treat you back with the same fairness. Those people, you like our lifestyle, you like the beach, you like having barbecue, you like, your daughter's having the options to choose to study to whatever, they're not restricted under any kind of, restrictions. They're free to choose. I mean, I'm sure even the other cultures, you appreciate that. The other side's going to destroy it. It's going to try. Okay? It's going to try to destroy it. Okay? And it's this foreign corporation, along with the Black Lives Matter, Marxist, Antifa, working together, and they both have no place, and they're both unlawful. Both of them. Final thought, something to consider, how serious communism was as, treated by the crown, let's say. Now, back in the old days, I was in the, I, I was in an army, British Army for a short period. But one of the quickest ways, and this was before homosexuals were allowed, and that was one of the quickest ways to be kicked out of the army, was to say that you're a homosexual back then. Well, an even quicker way to get removed from the army was to say that you're a communist. If you said you were a communist in the British Army, you would be removed immediately, maybe even arrested. I don't know. But that was a very fast way out of the British Army, was to say you're a communist. And that was back in 1998. 1998, if you said you're a communist in the British Army, you'd have been kicked out that day. That's how our side really thinks about communism. But that side isn't in control. That British monarchy's been removed from power. That's right. They've been removed. The crown has been removed. So it's got no authority under this corporate system. Yeah? Because you're not dealing with the actual monarch. When they say the crown, you're dealing with the Crown Corporation City of London. Anyway, that's a whole other topic. But we're in trouble, guys. Big, serious trouble. And it's going to take the men. The men are going to have to choose whether they want to live on their knees or not. Your pension funds and your super, not going to count for fuck all if you're on your knees. Anyway, catch you later.